Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 75th
This
anniversary.
meeting is being recorded.
Welcome to the 75th anniversary of the USS Indianapolis loss and the commemoration of the end of World War II. I am here with at least one survivor. We're hoping another one joins in just a moment. James Smith. James went aboard Indianapolis in 1943. He is one of the longest serving survivors that is here with us, and we're excited to talk to him today. He just celebrated a big birthday, right? 96, 95, James.
96.
96. And so James going to answer some questions. Hopefully we will have Thelen joining us. James is in Mount Carmel, Tennessee, and Dick will be coming from Lansing, Michigan. So in the meantime, I'm going to do some housekeeping for this meeting. Just some tech reminders for those of you who are new to Zoom. I myself am new, so hopefully you're actually watching something right now. I have no idea. Let's see. As participants, you will not have video or microphone privileges like a normal Zoom meeting. So this is a panel, and you'll be able to interact with the Q&A button in the bottom of your screen. So if you have a question and you would like to ask that question, go ahead and click that button and you can type in your question. We'll do our best to answer what we can with the time that we have. We did ask for questions in advance and received an overwhelming amount of questions. So we're excited to answer those. And beyond that, if you miss any part of this program, you can watch it on the YouTube channel. And you can find that by going to www.ussindianapolis.com. And yay, we have Mr. Thelen.
Say hi.
Hey, we made it.
We made it. Technology didn't fail us. So Dick is joining us from Lansing, Michigan. And I was just telling him what's going on, Dick. So you made it just in time. So Dick went aboard Indianapolis a little bit later than Mr. Smith did. And so I'm going to have him answer that in a moment. But first, I would like to start this with something that came in our inbox late last night. This is a nice surprise that we received. This is from the Vice President, Mr. Pence. I am delighted to send my warmest greetings to each of you attending the Survivors Virtual Reunion commemorating the 75th anniversary of the sinking of USS Indianapolis. Although the coronavirus pandemic curtailed your plans to convene in person, I'm encouraged that you are still determined to gather together virtually during this challenging time to reunite with friends and former shipmates and retell your extraordinary story from the Second World War, one of courage and uncommon valor that led to the end of the war and secured freedom for America and her allies. I join you in honoring and remembering your fellow sailors and Marines who are no longer with us, including the nearly 900 who perished in the waters of the Pacific after USS Indianapolis incurred her fatal torpedo blows, as well as the more than 300 survivors who have since passed. To each of you who served aboard the mighty ship, you are heroes all, and you carry the eternal gratitude of the American people for stepping forward to defend freedom for your generation and generations to come. You've exemplified the Navy's core values of honor, courage, and commitment, and you inspire all of us every day. So on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you for your enormous legacy of service and sacrifice, and a memorable and meaningful 75th anniversary reunion. God bless you all. Sincerely, Mike Pence, Vice President of the United States. And I will send a copy to each of you. And on behalf of the Vice President and his office. So that being said, I want to jump into these questions because I know our audience is very excited to hear from you and is done hearing from me. So I guess I will start with you, James. Tell me, how old were you when you first went aboard USS Indianapolis?
19.
19.
19.
Where did you come from? What was your hometown then?
Mississippi, Pontotoc.
All right. And was that the first time you'd ever been on a big ship?
Oh, yeah, first time.
Yeah. And how about you, Dick? Well, how old were you when you went aboard?
Board the ship, I was 18. I was 18 in March, and I went in 4 in July. 18 years and 4 months.
So just barely 18.
Right.
Yep. And you came from Lansing then too. You were born and raised there, right? Or somewhere else?
Right. I still live here, yes.
Still live there. All right. Must be a nice place.
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy here. My family.
Good, good. And James, what was your job aboard the ship? What were you responsible for?
I'm a deckhand and working on a Foundation gun.
All right. So what was your normal job? What did you do during the day when you weren't at battle?
Mop the floor and all that crap.
I still don't like doing that. And what was your battle station, James?
On a Foundation gun.
Okay, 5-inch gun. And how about you, Dick? What was your job aboard ship?
Well, what we did aboard ship is 4 hours on watch and 8 hours off. And that 8 hours, it sounds like a long time, but then you got to get something to eat, take a shower, write a letter, get some sleep. So you're on 4 hours and 4 hours on and 8 hours off, round the clock.
And what did you do during your normal shift, Dick?
I was up on the twin 20s up on the bow, which is a watch. That's what it was, security.
And was that your battle station?
That's the same place my general quarters was.
Oh, okay. And you both were there when the top secret cargo was brought aboard your ship on Hunter's Point in
We
July
were.
1945. Tell me, did you remember seeing that cargo come aboard ship, James?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think?
I didn't know what to say. Didn't know what it was.
Were you one of the young men that was placing bets on what might be in that cargo?
Did you place bets on what was going to be in the cargo?
No.
No.
You didn't guess what it was? You didn't guess what it was?
No.
No. Did you think it was suspicious about all the Marines guarding it?
Didn't know for sure.
You didn't know. How about you, Dick? You have any idea what was in that cargo?
No. It was secured in the seaplane hangar. I stood muster every day in that seaplane hangar, just was off there. So every day I stood muster, maybe 15, 20 feet from the bomb. It was roped off, 2 Marines on it 24 hours a day. We knew it was something highly, highly secret, actually. Nobody was touching it. But so I was real close to it on the way over.
And did you start coming in conjuring ideas, or did you make any guesses, or you just knew it was off limits?
You heard all kinds of stories. One of them is a good one, as far as I'm concerned. It's Senate toilet paper for MacArthur.
That would be a
That's
really
that,
big box
that
of
was a
toilet.
joke.
Was that your guess?
No.
No. And when, well, I'll save this question for after, but let's go to, so you went on that top speed mission to deliver this cargo, and then it was July 30th, so 75 years ago today. Tell me, where were you when the torpedoes hit? I'll have you answer first, Dick.
Oh, okay. I was sleeping topside. Of course, I laid down. I would get a Navy blanket and make a little sleeping bag out of it. This is the second night I slept up there. I used my clothes and my shoes for a pillow, and we slept topside. And Joe Jack, come on at 10 minutes to 12, he went up on the twin 20s for his watch. He was supposed to wake me up at 4 o'clock for my watch, 4 in the morning. I was laid down about 10 minutes to 12, and the ship blew up at 12, 10 after 12. I was asleep at the time, and when the torpedoes hit, I picked myself up on the cable that goes around outside the ship. I don't know if I went 2 feet in the air or 20 feet. I don't know. I know I went in the air. He came down. So I was very lucky that I didn't leave the ship without a jacket or anything. So that part I was real lucky to be topside.
When you went off the ship, how were you? Did you have to jump into the water, or did you slide into the water? What did you do?
A lot of people ask me about that. I did not jump a foot. I didn't leave the ship. The ship left me. Me and about over 6 other guys went aft to our general quarters and also our gunnery. Anyhow, we got the quarterdeck. It was full of engulfed with flames. So we went forward, and me and 4 or 5 other guys cut down life rafts on the 8-inch guns. You can see the tourists. By that time, the ship was really listening to starboard side. You could hardly stand up. So a man had a knife to, they cut down canvas bags of life jackets behind the 8-inch gun. So I was lucky I got one of those. I no more got on it, and I kept sliding, and I did have it on 2 or 3 minutes, and I just swam away from the ship. I was lucky.
And you weren't one of the ones that got lucky to get on the life raft, right? You just had the life jacket.
No, I helped the life raft get off, but when I got in the water, I didn't see any of them. It was dark, of course, so I didn't see anything in the rafts in the water. But some of them got them. Well, the captain got one, for example, and Mike McCullough and Doc McCoy. I can name quite a few that got it, which is good.
Yeah.
But most of us were life jackets or floating nets. So I just got a life jacket.
30, right?
The jacket was only good for 72 hours. I had mine 104. I had parts of 3. Me and some other guy, I don't know who he was, took it off a dead person, and one went floating by. So I was lucky that I had parts of 3 because mine was falling apart.
I'm glad you were able to get another one.
Yeah, very lucky.
In a very unfortunate way, yeah. And we understand there was about 30 in the raft that made it into rafts, and that was all of the about 800 that went into the water. And
yeah, most of them are like myself in the K-pot. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I'd say 80-90% of people.
Yeah. And same for you, James, right? You were in the water swimming.
Right.
But I want to step back a second. I'm sorry to interrupt you and ask you tell me about what you were doing leading up to the torpedo hitting.
Who got me?
Yes, she got you.
I may asleep.
You were asleep. Tell me about it. Tell me what happened.
Right behind the mess hall number 2 department. Right behind that's their chief's quarters, and the torpedo hit. Woke me up. I got up, put my uniform, pants, shirt on, got me a drink of water in the mess hall, went up to my gun, went about the one up there. I went down, tried to get a wrap off, didn't do no good. So I went back up to gun 1. Yeah, 1, baby. And walked down the side of the ship into the water. And
So
where I came up.
You were like this, very similar, where you just stepped right into the water.
Yeah, right into the water.
Now, was there a lot of oil where you were? Were you covered in oil?
Yeah. Well, nobody out there but myself. I turned around and seen the ship going down. My home for 19 months.
Tell me about that. Where you were, how far away from the ship were you when you saw it sinking at the last moments?
Oh, I'll say about good piece. I don't remember how far. Let's see.
Like the size of a football field, or like the size of a football field, or
I don't remember that. Good piece anyway. I didn't feel the ship going down. In other words, put it that way.
All right. But you could definitely see it that night sliding down.
Yeah. I had a good piece of weight. I said 200 or 300 feet. Might be in that neighborhood.
Wow.
Moon
And-
coming out really bright. I see my ship going down, tail end of it, fantail. But next day I went up on a bunch, me and Dr. Hayes group with had must have been in, I'd say 100, 150, something like that, maybe more than that, I don't know. And hung around him till they seaplane got there next, August 2nd. And they, the first one on that seaplane landed on the water. And give me an ounce of orange juice, I passed out, woke up about 2 or 3 days after that. I've been awake for a whole 90 hours.
Wow. Now so you say you were in Dr. Haynes' group, and that was mostly people with life jackets and just swimming, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
Dick, were you in Dr. Haynes' group, or were you with near the Red Main group more?
Come again, I didn't understand.
Were you close to Dr. Haynes? Were you also in that group?
I don't know. I don't think I was, no.
Okay.
To my knowledge, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Well,
I
in
think
other
I
words,
remember where
you
you were.
try- You try to stay in their group, but it don't work. If you pass out as kind of going in a half-assed sleeping mode, then you float away from that group. Because it happened to me. You kind of pass out, then you come back half an hour later, and sometimes there's 4 or 5 guys around you. Next time there's nobody. So, in other words, the current out there, it sounds a little ridiculous, but that's the way it is. So,
No. When you were in the water, what were some of the things that you thought about, Dick, that helped you survive?
well, it was my father. He decided for me to go to the Navy, and at 17. So at the end of boot camp, he took me back to the railroad station. He was a strong man. He grabbed my hand and looked me in the eye. He said, "Dick, I want you to come home." I said, "Dad," it was April of 45. The war was winding down in Europe. He said, "Don't worry about it. The war's, really going down. There's nothing going to happen to me." Every time I was ready to give up, I could feel Dad's hand and I could see it. And a lot of people think it's a little ridiculous, a story like that, or a storybook story. Believe me, young lady, it was the truth. He really brought me home. When I got home, I told him so. In other words, somebody had to live for somebody. And he brought me home.
I'm glad he brought you home.
Yeah.
And James, how about you? Tell me, what were some of the things you were thinking about that helped you survive, helped you stay awake for 90 hours?
My mom and dad, and Jesus, he saved my life, helped save my life. And I don't know what for, but I'm still around. And
Your grandma's cooking. You wanted to come home to your grandma's cooking, is what you told me.
all I wanted to still live with grandma, and I wanted her home cooked meal.
You must have been a pretty darn good cook.
Yeah, that's about it.
And what was, James, what was the first sign that you knew you were going to be rescued?
Then airplanes come over.
You saw, did you see
Yeah,
Lieutenant?
everybody started waving at it. Yeah.
How about you, Dick? Did you see?
When Chuck Quinn spotted us, and of course he spotted, then he'll come over the top of us. I would always say 500, 600 feet. But when he swung his airplane back and forth, then we knew he spotted us. And so that was around, I always say 10, 11 o'clock Thursday morning. And the seaplane landed. I seen the same plane come around. That landed at 2 or 3, I think, in the afternoon. So what I'm saying is, nobody knew who we were until Adrian Marks come in with his plane. I don't know if you know. And I didn't get picked up until 8 hours later. So the USS Doyle come in after midnight and picked me up. Then Doyle went to the airplane to get the ones off that airplane, which is 56 of them.
Did you
So
see the
between
light
the
from the
two-
Doyle? Did you see
Pardon?
that big bright light in the sky? Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. I seen him before he got there. Oh, yeah. I told him so too later on and in our reunions and everything, different things. Oh, yeah. It was definitely a help. In other words, to stay alive. It was, well, for example, when they dropped the life rafts, that before Adrian Marks showed up, me and three other guys were going to swim to that raft they dropped. I don't think it was over 30, 40 yards, but anyhow, two of them, the heart stopped along the way. And my real good friend, close buddy of mine, Terry from Indiana, a shark attacked him, got him. So anyway, when I got to the raft, I was too weak to get on the raft. And I couldn't get on the raft. Nobody would help me. In other words, I tied myself to the raft. It was Thursday afternoon until Friday morning. I stayed in the water.
Oh,
I
wow.
was lucky. I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
The story of the rescue part.
And you were pulled directly into the Doyle from the water, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Now-
how bad is it? I
Go
don't know
ahead.
if you know this or not. We had a guy, our captain of the Doyle, I don't know if you know, years ago, get a guest speaker. And he told me then, or us guys, that how bad shape we was in and everything. But one guy died on the way to the hospital, and 5 died after we got there. So that's how bad shape I was in and everybody else. In other words, by Adrian Max landed that plane and picked up 56 survivors, probably some of them would have died if he didn't get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of heroes involved in this thing that we don't know.
Very much. And James, you specifically have a story about Adrian Marks, right?
Yeah.
No. Tell us about that.
But
What story is it? He's a little lost.
Tell us about being rescued by Lieutenant Adrian Marks on the PBY.
Yeah. Oh, I'm about the first one on there, and they did about an ounce of orange juice. I walk up to the head, to the forward to the right behind the pallet, and set water running on, in the airplane at the time. I passed out. I woke up about 2-3 days after that. I missed all the excitement when they transfer me off, give me a bath and everything.
So let me get this straight. So you were the first one brought aboard the PBY.
First one.
Wow. And then you had a small glass of orange juice and you passed out for 3 days and woke up in the hospital.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you were almost at the last straw. And
I found out about 2 years ago, my cousin, husband, brother on that ship on the door. I didn't know nothing about it. I seen her. She told me about it.
no, you don't remember anything about being on the Doyle? Nothing?
Nothing.
Wow. Do you remember, were you awake when they put your crew members on the wings of the airplane?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I think you were tuckered out.
They gave me a bath and everything. I didn't know nothing about it. Had
Yeah.
all that fever all over me. Didn't know nothing about it.
And
Work up about 2-3 days after.
when you, both of you, I'll start with you, Dick. When you woke up in the hospital, or when you came to, what kind of condition were you in after you were rescued and arrived in the hospital?
When I come to, I looked around and I don't know if it was a corpsman or a doctor by near my bed. And I asked him where I was. Of course, he told me. And the first thing he said to me, he said, "Oh, you're back of mamas." What I'm saying to you, like him, I passed out in the Doyle. Then he took us into Pelew. I don't remember being taken off that ship or in the hospital. There was X amount of time there's blank. Funny thing happened is Joe Jackamon, which I was supposed to retrieve him from watch up on the bow. Anyhow, when he picked him up shortly before me. Well, he slept in a bunk down below, and I was on the little aisle, then second one. Anyhow, I recognized him. And I told him, the man, I said, when he wakes up, wake me up. And I passed out. So a few hours later, Joe Jackamont woke up, so the man says, and he said the same thing to that man. He said, when he wakes, wake me up. Little story to connect it with it, but we don't remember much about it. And for example, when we come back on the Tranquility Hospital ship, the hospital ship was out in the bay. So we asked him, we took it out in landing barge. So we would ask him, how come the hospital ship don't come into port to get us? And the man comes and says, you're going off this island the same way you come on. And about 8 or 10 of us says, don't remember coming on. So a little story that, we're not forgetting there.
And James, what about you? How long were you in the hospital? Do you remember before before you were able to walk around and you were starting to feel a little bit better?
I think a few days, went to me about 3 or 4 days, something like that.
Okay.
I started feeling better. Hey, by the way, when they transferred me off of Dole, put me in the boat, I awake. I remember that. I reached down and picked up $5 bills on that boat. $5.
You found a $5 bill on the boat?
I sure did. That's the truth.
Do you remember what you did with it? Did you
No.
go have a beer?
That wouldn't surprise me.
They had a beer party down there. Yeah, I think beer permit did 3 beer a day, and the beer had Pabst Blue Ribbon had half can of hops. The rest of the beer, green. What are you talking about? Make you sick.
I think we're gonna have to send you some PBR. A couple more questions that have come in for you. Do you think it's important for your shipmates and you to share your story of Indianapolis with future generations? How do you see, this story continuing for many, many years? Dick, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm glad to bring it out to attention. There's so many things years ago. You probably know through the reunions. I've been going to reunions since 1960, so I've been to a whole bunch of them. And in other words, so many things that survivors did to get this thing. For example, the monument, the museum, books, movies. For example, finding the ship. I never thought a few years ago that, if people forget about the thing. But I tell people now, there's more publicity, more information out, including your book, of course, and people are reading it, and they're flabbergasted exactly what we went through. But if we went through, I don't figure myself as a hero. We just did our thing. And if it helped the country, which I think we did, that's it. And I hope we continue on. But there's only a few of us left now, so, and my opinion, I'm on cloud 9 anytime you got 317 survivors and you're only 8 left. Boy, my opinion, pretty damn lucky. And I got a wonderful family. Barb's taking care of me now, my daughter, and David and Karen's both here right now, and they're at my side. So I'm a lucky guy. Go ahead. That
James, James, can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How about you? Do you think it's important for your story to be shared?
Oh,
Or-
yeah, I think, yeah, I do. You know, these people these days don't know nothing about World War II, what we did, our ship did, but really important ship. And I think I'll go on forever. By the way, when I go to heaven, if I go that way, I know be all friends up there. have a what is it? Party. Party.
I
Yeah,
think it's going to be a pretty big
I
part.
miss all of them. I think about them every day,
Mhm.
all my ship and everything. The days don't go by, I don't think about it.
You said you were on board 19 months, right, James? Or 17? How long? 19 months. So that was your family. That was your home.
Yeah.
That, yeah. So
When I
you had a
see ship go down, I said, goodbye, ship, goodbye, home. 19 months. We went air and turkey shoot. We went to Japan about 2 times, and all big operations. See, we're the flagship, and we go where nobody else would go. And like bombarding bombs and stuff like that, we flew up there. And where the Arab was shake hand with Japanese while I was bombing them.
Now, you correct me.
I would take nothing for being in the Navy.
Yeah. You had a good experience, and you correct me if you were 7 battles, right? 7 of the 10 battle stars, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I imagine you saw a lot of things and experienced a lot of things in those months you were aboard.
I did.
Mm-hmm. And you know, we had a question pop up, kind of jump ahead in the timeline. I know, Dick, you have a story about this with the movie Jaws that came out, and there, you know, that brought quite a lot of attention to the Indianapolis story. Tell me, I don't want to give the spoiler away, but tell me how that impacted your family.
oh,
And,
well, the movie Abandoned Ship started with come out in 1958. That's what we got. The first year you were 60. And yeah, we got the book, of course. And Joanne would read a paragraph or a page or two and read it back to me. Why she did that? Because we buried in 1951. In 7 years, I never said one word to her about this ship. She knew through my sister that went nurses training in high school with my sister. Lorraine told her that I was on a ship that sank, and that's all. Joanne didn't know the name of the ship. Didn't know nothing about it. And when she found out, she was one bad woman. In other words, and I don't blame her because I didn't have myself organized. In other words, I was doing little goofy things myself. I didn't realize at the time, but she straightened it out after. It's the best thing ever happened when that movie Jaws come out, and in other words, in the movie and everything. It sounds a little ridiculous. For example, David's right here. He will care if I tell the story.
Yep.
He was high school, and he come home from his mother. And his mother asked him what he was done today. Well, he went to movie Jaws. And he come home, and all David could talk about is this ship and the rescue and the sharks and everything else. So he was elaborating to his mother on it. But his mother said, well, go talk to your dad. He knows about that. And David said, well, what the hell does he know about it? And Joanne said, well, he was on that ship. So he didn't know until he went to high school. And I got 2 older sons, Mike and Larry, that didn't know either. Now, what I'm trying to say to you, I didn't tell very, very, very few. I let my mother and dad know a little bit of the story. I did tell them the whole story. I couldn't. It sounds a little far-fetched, a little ridiculous, but it's the truth.
and James, what do you remember when the movie Jaws came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did did you talk about your experience aboard Indianapolis much before then?
No, never did. Both they put the flag,
Monument.
monument up in 95. Me and my daughter went up to see the monument in 97.
Mhm.
Out in the hospital at the time. And went down to the historic library. They found out who I was. They had to interview us, take pictures, everything else. Now I found out about the reunion. We started going to it in 2013, right when we went to.
You started talking about in 83 after your surgery.
Uh,
You started talking about in 83 after your surgery.
yeah,
So you waited all the way till 1983 to start talking about this story and your experience?
Yes.
yeah.
That's a pretty long time to keep something bottled up.
Yeah.
You had brain surgery.
I had brain surgery in '83. Had an aneurysm. And I'm not too bright no more.
I think you're just fine. I think you're both pretty darn special, and I know you don't like it when people call you heroes, but you've certainly been my heroes. It gives me a really hard time, and sometimes I don't, he gives me a lot of sass sometimes, and I feel like a family member, but all the other times you feel like heroes, except for when you're joking with me and giving me a hard time. Both of you, actually.
Well, my family, including me, is a big tease. We tease each other quite a bit. You probably know that.
Same with you, James. Both of you guys like to tease, and I kind of like it. So well,
I like you. You don't want my book. You're my best friend.
You both are very special, and we just thank you. I'm not quite done with you yet. I have a couple more questions that have popped up. A lot of people have been asking what this 75th anniversary means to each of you. So James, I'll start with you. What does this 75 years mean to you?
Oh shit.
Oh, think about it. You saw some good stuff.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I wish all my shipmates had already passed away to be here today, but they couldn't make it. So
Lost its teeth.
that's about it. Anyway, make up the rest of it. Oh, my daughter got a
You lost its teeth.
tattoo on the thigh, the anchor, and of course, being on the USS Indianapolis on it.
For your lost at sea. Your lost at sea fellow.
Yeah, that is.
That's what you forgot to say.
Sort of missing.
Huh? No, you forgot your lost at sea.
Yeah, missing.
No, I ain't showed her my tattoo.
Yeah. She won't get up short. It's not so big.
They don't want to see my legs.
She won't get up.
And well, Dick, how about you? The 75th anniversary. What does it mean to you?
Well, it means a lot to me. Well, the biggest thing, in my opinion, is keep the story alive. Now, what you're doing, what's going to happen, and so far so good. All the stuff's coming out, but the biggest thing is keep the story alive. You know this. I talk to hundreds and hundreds of people to talks. And I sold many books. And the reason I did it is not because I'm trying to pat myself on the back and be a big hero. It's keep the story alive. And that's what this is. It's just like finding a ship. A lot of people, when they found the ship, they come up to me, "Oh, Dick, they found your ship." Well, in other words, it's just one thing to keep the story alive. And yeah, I think it's good for young kids, including my family, to know what we went through and how we survived. Why, I don't know, but we did. Yeah.
I think it's so that we can learn. I think it's so we
hope
can learn
I-
from you.
Good enough.
We have an opportunity to learn so many important lessons from both of you and all of your shipmates. And never give up and to fight for what's right and to, make good choices. And so thank you for that. And just thank you for continuing to share your story and for not giving up and for letting us all learn from you, from everything you've shared.
Good example. Oh, can I
Thank
say
you.
another? When I go around and talk, I went to a place, they have a place for a home for people that are from 18, I think around 40 years old, wheelchair handicapped. See. So they asked me to give a talk there. They were real interested on the conversation and everything else. Anyhow, uh, after I'd seen the nurse in church about 2 weeks later, and he said, "You can't comprehend what you did to those people. They're running around right now, patting each other back." He said, "Never give up." And I'll tell you something else. You ain't gonna believe this, Dick. She says they're even taking their medicine better. Now tap that one. I was running on my chest hanging up 6 feet. That's thank you. That's a good. I can tell you many stories, but I had to tell you that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Well, wrap this up. I want to see, is there anything else? James, would you like to share anything else? Or, you want to talk about, have you been watching any of the reunion online on the computer?
I won't see it.
Yeah, you watched the congressional medal this morning.
I've seen it at
Congressional medal.
that matter this morning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, see next day.
It was just a business meeting yesterday.
That is.
And Dick, what about you? Have you been able to tune in?
Am I what?
Have you been able to watch the reunion on the
Yeah.
computer?
No.
We're watching stuff.
Oh yeah, we have. Of course, you know the reason for staying home, the virus.
Yeah.
So I would really didn't want to miss it, but I decided to stay home. And maybe I was right or wrong, but it's too bad. What we went through, not just me, anybody fought in the war, for the condition it is today with the virus, the economics, and the racial deal. It's sad. And it really is. Well, like the kid said to me, "Well, you talk about that, it really gets to you." Oh, it does. It really does.
But I think more than ever, we need messages like you just told us, never give up. I
Yeah.
think that's so important in right now, especially. So thank you again for teaching us that lesson and having you to look to for an example.
That's my favorite expression, never give up. So it works.
It certainly taught me lessons. Well,
Hey, I got a shirt. I have a shirt that don't give up.
Never give up.
Don't never give up. You
That's
might take it in the one. Yeah.
mm-hmm. I like it. You have a hat too that says it too, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
a hot
I got
thing,
it.
James.
Thank you.
That one, Jennifer's daughter made it for you.
Now, James, I understand on your birthday you made a special request, and I think a little bit of that request came through. I have one more surprise to share with you today. This is for both of you, and this is for your shipmates. We received a letter from President Trump directly for you guys in honor of this anniversary. And so I'd like to read that to you. And then when this is all done, I'll send you a copy of the letter, but it's a special letter just for today. He says, on this day, 75 years ago, 2 torpedoes struck USS Indianapolis, eventually leading to the sinking of one of our nation's most historic assets in the Pacific theater of World War II. Today, as we pay tribute to the heroes who perished on that fateful day, we remember the immeasurable sacrifices made by its crew and by all of our service members throughout World War II. The USS Indianapolis CA-35 and its crew embodied the spirit of its namesake city. Tough, determined, and always ready for the next mission at hand, the Indy was an integral part of the Fifth Fleet and critical to our nation's success in World War II. At the time of the attack, the Portland heavy cruiser had Portland-class heavy cruiser had approximately 1,200 of America's finest on board. Tragically, only 316 of these patriots would survive. The greatest single loss of life at sea from a single ship in the United States naval history, and a somber reminder of the price of freedom. As Commander-in-Chief, I join each of you and our entire nation in remembering the precious souls lost on July 30th, 1945. The memory of these brave service members has not faded over time. Instead, their legacy is more relevant than ever, reminding us that no challenge or tragedy can outmatch the resolve of the American people. May God bless the United States of America, President Donald Trump. So I will send a copy to you both and to all of your shipmates. And James, maybe you'll get that handshake after all. So.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I do. Before I sign off and thank everyone for coming, you have any more things you'd like to add? Any last messages to the audience?
That I know of.
All right, Dick, you good?
Thank you again, Sarah. Thank you again, Sarah, for really keeping the story alive by your books. And I understand you've been traveling around quite a bit yourself. So I hear they're a great one.
That's the truth.
My cousin told me the other day, you probably heard about that. He come there when he was in Arizona.
That's right. I saw him in Arizona doing before.
I just saw him last week too. His brother died of cancer 2 weeks ago. So
I'm sorry.
that's all right. So, but he called when he got home. He told me about it.
We have a picture together. So
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you both for giving us your time. To the audience, thank you for tuning in. You know, if you ever have questions, you want to learn more about the story of USS Indianapolis, we encourage you. There's the USS Indianapolis Legacy organization that is charged with continuing this story. You can find out about them. You can find about more questions. You can ask us anything. We encourage you to visit www.ussindianapolis.com, and we'll set you on the right place and encourage you to join our Indianapolis family and help us keep this story alive. So thank you all for joining us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of this reunion.
Hang on, Miss Sarah.
She said that.